Hello, everybody. Welcome to this edition of Turnaround Marriage Live. We are Scott and Rachel, and today we're going to be sharing with you step number 1 of the 5-step strategy that Christian couples use to finally end cycles of disconnection and reclaim the love, passion, and playfulness that they once had. And so we're going to be sharing that first strategy. Maybe you haven't had a chance to check out our masterclass, and maybe stress is the thing that's really front and center for you. And if that's you, we want to welcome you. We want to have you tune in. And we're going to be talking about embracing stress in this day and age.
Wow, that's crazy. That's opposite of what people are saying.
Absolutely.
Yeah, welcome everybody. We're so glad that you're joining us today. And absolutely, we want to encourage you. First of all, you might be seeing us on Facebook. You might be seeing us on YouTube. If you're on YouTube, subscribe, like, and share. We'd appreciate that so much. As well as on Facebook, you can like our coaching page. Make sure that you're seeing all the updates, and make sure that you're also in our group. We have a private group with about 1,600 people in there. We're always putting bits of information and encouragement in there, and you can just search and find either one of those by searching Turnaround Marriage on Facebook, and you'll find both of those pages, our group and our page rather. So we're so glad you're here. And yeah, we're going to share our masterclass, which a lot of people, that's how they come to know about us. Mm-hmm. And we thought it'd be fun just to kind of break it down and put it in bite-sized nuggets, be the two of us talking about it. And just let you know, if you do want to check that out in full, you can go to turnaroundmarriage.com/class. And again, it's the 5-step strategy that Christian couples use to completely turn their marriage around. And this is our heart and our passion. And so we're glad that you're joining us today.
Yes. After working with couples in some capacity or another for the last over 2 decades, these are the strategies that we have found that have really made the difference for committed Christian couples. So who is this for? This is for you. If you are a believer, you are married, you have found yourselves in the midst of conflict, in the midst of a lot of stress in your home, stress in your marriage, stress at work, and you are having trouble navigating the stress. The stress seems like it's coming between the two of you, seems like it's mounting and mounting and mounting. And by the weekend, you just can hardly stand to be around each other because maybe the stress has been building all week, or maybe all you're doing is trying to get through the week to make it to the weekend. And then when the weekend does get here, you're so exhausted from the stress that you can't really even enjoy yourselves. Exactly. And so if that's you, this is for you. Go ahead and tune in.
Absolutely. And I'm sure some of you are out there and hearing this like, what in the heck are you guys talking about? Why would I embrace stress? The stress is what's killing us. The stress is what's killing our marriage. And in fact, Scott and Rachel, I can point out this. I can point out COVID. I can point out the sickness. I can point out the marriage problems started when we started having money problems. I can list for you all the reasons why I shouldn't embrace stress. Well, hear us out today, guys, because what we have to offer could very well be massively transformational for you and for your marriage.
Yeah, because here's what we have found, that most couples or individuals are just trying to manage their stress.
Right.
There's so much stress. And let me just give you a hint. If you have a pulse, you have stress. The day that you no longer have a pulse is the day your stress will be done on this life, right? And so many couples we find are finding ways to manage their stress. And 99% of the time, if they're really struggling and if they're in a bad place, it's because they're managing it poorly. They're using unhealthy coping strategies. And, in the last 2 years since COVID hit, and since the crazy began, and since this onslaught of sickness and fear and mandates and division that we've seen, it's almost like someone is pulling strings to try to get us to hate each other's guts, to not be on the same page. And stress is at an all-time high. Maybe you're facing, making an impossible decision and you feel coerced at your work, or maybe you're financially just so strapped because you don't know how you're going to provide if you have to do this or that or the other. Or maybe you're so overcome with grief over the loss of loved ones that you've had over the last 2 years, and the craziness of being isolated and being disconnected from your family. Guys, we're neurobiologically wired for connection. And so to isolate all of us and separate us from the people that we love at the time when fear and craziness is at an all-time high, that's the worst thing we can do to manage stress. And so maybe some of you are finding yourselves You've got to drink that extra glass of wine at night because you've just got to take the edge off. Or maybe you're finding yourself numbing yourself a little bit more, just scrolling and wasting hours of your life, scrolling on social media and comparing yourself to others. And we've noticed that over time, the last 2 years, the rise in mental illness and anxiety and depression symptoms have skyrocketed, as you guys know. And maybe that's true in your own life. And if you're managing stress and just trying to get through the day and just trying to numb the pain, that is not going to be productive to help you grow a close connected marriage.
Right. That's so true. And guys, hear us out here. Let's break it down and think about it for a moment. If you are focused, this is how we did it for the longest time.
Yeah.
If you are focused on just getting through what you're facing, if you're thinking, I just have to get through this, we just have to get, and then everything's going to be okay. If that is what your thinking is, my goodness, guys, you're going to miss life. Like if you're waiting for the stress to be gone and you're just waiting and you're disengaged or you're trying to escape or you're trying to find some way to cope, you're going to miss out on the beauty of life. You're going to miss out on the moments of really being connected. And, time does fly. My goodness, time does fly by. I'm a year away from being 50. Like time has a way of flying by. Well,
don't speed up.
I don't want to speed it up too fast. You're right, guys. When we're focused on the things that we have to get through, not only is life flying by, but more than that, we begin to get focused on it. We become focused on all the things that are bad. Like that becomes the focal points of our lives instead of looking at all the beauty. Like there's no doubt that there's stress. There's no doubt that there are stressful situations that we have to go through. But what are we focusing on? And so, guys, we understand. We know life happens. We know that there can be tremendously stressful situations and things can get really dark at times. Things can feel hopeless. Things can get really, really hard, whether it's with your children, career, health, your grandchildren, friends, extended family. Like the stressors, the pressures can come from all different directions. But guys, how we respond to that, that's massive. And how we respond to it is not up to your wife or your husband or to your kids or to other people. It's up to you and how you're responding. So how are you responding? How is that going for you? Are you being victorious or are you getting further and further stuck? In fact, I would wonder, are you digging even deeper trenches, like in that vicious cycle of trying to escape? It could very well be making things worse. So how you're responding to this is really up to you.
Right. And I think it's interesting that you said that sometimes we're just focused. If we just feel like we can get through this next, then everything will be good. And what we know inevitably and what we are promised in scripture in John 16 is that in this world, you will have trouble. And so it's not like if we just get through this stressor that everything will be good, because you and I know life is going to happen. There are going to be challenges, hardships, hard times. Things are going to go sideways. Life is going to happen. And so it's really how we manage it, and not just how we manage it, but embracing it. When couples can learn to embrace stress together rather than use it as a thing that rips them apart, everything can change. And that's when we can see couples become powerhouse couples, when they can start to embrace it. It's like, okay, game on. Yeah. Here's a challenge. Let's tackle it together instead of letting it rip us apart. So it's really just a shift in mindset. It's a shift in how you look at the stress. Because if all we're trying to do is get through the day, instead of seeing how this stressor can change us, can grow us, God can use it in our lives. And I'm not lying here to say that the hard things don't happen. They do. And sometimes life just really stinks. Sometimes things are just really rotten. But if we can learn to embrace it rather than fight it, if we can learn to embrace it rather than numb it, everything can change for you.
Yeah, that's right. And if we can begin to see, I mean, it's like building a muscle here. If you can begin to see that instead of, oh my goodness, all of this is happening to me, and begin to see it as all these things that are happening for me and for us, and be able to embrace that as a team, you can actually begin to see some of those setbacks as opportunities.
Yeah.
Even, for example, the worst case scenario, if you were to lose a loved one in the family, terrible. We wouldn't wish that on our worst enemy. Like that's the worst thing. Of course it is. But what have we experienced in those times? A lot, not always, but what would be the most ideal situation? Like when I pass and go into the next world, I would want my family to grow together. That's what I would want. And so when we see even the most horrific, most painful things that happen in life, and that is losing someone, like that setback, if we were to see that as an opportunity for the family even to grow closer together, for the kids to get closer, whatever it would be, guys, the most successful couples that we work with don't allow stress to lead the way. They refuse to do it anymore, and they embrace that stress and began to build the muscles of really embracing those setbacks as an opportunity for them to grow closer together. Because if it's money, the problem isn't that you are fighting about money or that you don't have enough. The problem is you're not on the same team about it. And when you do get on the same team about these things, a lot of transformation, a lot of growth can actually happen.
It's so good, Scott. It's so true too. So really, there's 3 things that we teach our clients how to do. The first one is how to cope with stress in healthy ways. The unhealthy ways we all know: drinking and scrolling and numbing and pills and substances and porn and even just social media, trying to make yourself known and seen and highlight every little wonderful thing that's happening in your life and hiding the pain that's really there.
Or just vegging.
Or just not TV. Games. TV is a huge one, and our phones are these little stress boxes. we think they're going to relieve our stress. When you're stressed, what's the first thing you do? Ask yourself the question: what do I do? Do I grab my phone? Is that how I manage my stress? Do I turn on the TV? Is that how I manage stress, or am I doing it in healthier ways? So we teach them how to cope with stress in healthy ways. There's so many healthy ways to cope with stress. The second thing is we teach them how to set boundaries so that they have margins. Like, it is okay to say no, to not overextend yourself, to not have to say yes to every obligation that's coming your way, because there's only 24 hours in a day. There's only 168 hours in a week. You only have so much time to spread between your work and your family and playtime and work time, right? And so if you are saying yes to so many things, that's ripping your budget and your time and your energy and your effort and leaving you frazzled with nothing left to give, you've got to learn how to say no and set those healthy boundaries. And the third thing, so important. The third thing we show our couples how to do is how to approach it as a team. And honestly, team building in a marriage is a lost art. We have forgotten how to be a team. Like, we were a team when we were dating. We were a team when we were planning our wedding. We were a team when we were thinking about our honeymoon and all those things. And then it's like, then all of a sudden we get jobs and we have kids, and all of a sudden, where's the team? Like, we're just, sometimes it can feel like, we're not on a team anymore. Right. You're doing man-on-man defense over here. I'm over here on zone defense, and we're not on the same team. We're fighting different battles. And so we really teach our clients how to become a team.
And it can be so huge when you're able to begin to get on that team together, because every single struggle is an opportunity for you to get on the same team, and you're going to grow. Imagine this, that every challenge that comes, because this is how God designed it. When those challenges come, if they were to help you to grow in intimacy and connection and closeness, wow, what would be possible for you? I mean, that'd be amazing. You're going to be absolutely stronger together. And guys, we understand that life can be crazy, as we've said numerous times already. But when we learn to do these 3 things, like learning how to cope in healthy manners personally, having those healthy boundaries, trying to put margins in our lives and in our marriages, that's super important. And then approaching it as a team. These things are so huge, so helpful. But many of you out there today are going to be hearing this, and you're going to be thinking, okay, that sounds great, but like, where do we even begin with something like that? Because, Scott, you don't really even know. Rachel, you don't understand the stress that we've been fighting in our financially for a long time. You don't even understand how polar opposite we are about the political state of affairs in America today, or our views on COVID. You don't know what our sister-in-law, what she's like, or what my mother-in-law is like. Like, we could go on and on about all these situations that could feel like these are just massive, they're insurmountable, they're hopeless. And we're here to tell you guys, when you can learn to really address these as a team and start getting on the same page about these things, everything can really change. And we're in the middle of our work ourselves. Like, to say
Always.
that we don't understand this. We thought it'd be a great idea to get our family a puppy for Christmas. Sounded great. But
until the sleepless nights and the accidents and the potty training and the dog training, and this stressor has, when you're not getting your sleep, let's just say it out loud, like, it's hard to manage stress. It's hard to think, and it's hard to be nice. It's hard to really walk in your sanctification when you haven't had sleep. And so, guys, we're here to encourage you. Like, we are walking this in the middle. It's like, how can this puppy be a thing that brings us together instead of making you want to rip your eyes out
or
at 4 in the morning when the dog's barking? How can we serve each other in this stressor? And so, just learning to look at it with different eyes, with a different lens, a different set of lenses, and really trying to come at it as a team. And you may be needing help with that. And if that's where you're at, that's why we offer the breakthrough call, to see if you possibly need to have a deeper dive in your marriage. And maybe things have been stressed for a long time. Maybe you've had longstanding history of dealing with stress poorly, using each other as the scapegoat, really blaming. And there's been a lot of resentment and bitterness and anger that's built up over time. And you'd like to figure out how to let that go. That's what we help our clients do. So we want to encourage you to go ahead and book that breakthrough call at turnaroundmarriage.com/call. And we can get on that phone and help you and figure out if you need our help. But guys, we're here to tell you that the very first step in helping to turn your marriage around is to embrace stress. Like I said, the minute you say, I wish I didn't have any stress, that's the minute you're going to be dead. So we don't want that for you. We want you to learn how to embrace it and not just figure out how to, get over it and then try to, brace yourself until the next big event comes, because it's going to keep coming.
It does. And for the majority of our marriage, I would even say that was my strategy. It doesn't work. Just simply doesn't work, and doesn't welcome each other in closer. It pushes each other apart, because I'm always going to deal with it one way and you're always going to deal with it your way, until we come together as a team to deal with it together, and not just deal with it, but get through it and grow together. So, and
I wanted to just give the second half of that verse I mentioned earlier from John 16 to give the hope, because it does say, in this world you will have trouble, but Jesus says, but take heart, I have overcome the world. And so, guys, you don't have to embrace stress alone. You have the Lord. And maybe your walk with him has become distant or cold because you've been just so beat up in your marriage emotionally or in other ways, and just feeling really beat down by yourself. Maybe you're just beating yourself up for the failures or the ways it hasn't happened. And so we want to just shine that light of hope to turn back to Christ. He is the one who has overcome the world. He is the one who can help us. And so, and if you need help, please reach out, book that call at turnaroundmarriage.com/call.
Absolutely. And we shall see you tomorrow with step 2. God bless you.
Bye-bye.